Makes sense.
I think that's a good enough time.
I meant to actually put a decent shirt on. Oh well.
Whatever.
Video now, you know?
Yeah, I got you.
We got 5 minutes. I'm gonna go put on a decent shirt.
I'll put one on right now.
BRB.
What if you just went shirtless?
He's gone.
Oh. Whatever.
Here, let me put on a tie.
There you go. Yeah.
There we go. Look at that.
Hey, look at that. That's so much better. They'll be like, man, Kev's a lot less animated this week. And I'll be like, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
I'm that animated every week, all the time. What are you talking about?
It's true. I keep forgetting that like Jay Heaps is with Birmingham. I just can't commit that to my memory.
I'm nodding my head. Letting you know I'm nodding my head since you can't see me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
I'm actually, since it is a live picture you're seeing, I'm actually nodding my head just so almost indiscriminately you can't even see it.
So that's that. Oh, I'm going to put these in date order.
No, crap.
I think will be March 7. March 7. March 7th. Thanks, guys. It's all going to be from the 7th? Cool. Don't have to worry about it then.
Hi, Harry. How you doing?
Oh, it's that guy that chirped me on Twitter for not being on the podcast anymore. I see how it is. Carson, you're right. Yeah. Fair warning. We have Goose and Jason from League One Fun. Matter of fact, joining in a bit. You're not banned, no. I'm still here.
Oh, Kev got dressed up.
I did.
Kev did get dressed up.
If you're gonna get dressed up, I did too. I even put on a tie.
Yeah, wait, Phil, what did you put on?
USA.
All right, good, man. Yeah, I forgot. There's a gap in the scarf wall because I didn't bring the women's national team scarf that I have down. Can you shoot Goose a link to the
we got people
to join the stream?
Yeah,
that'd be dope.
You know what you should do? So if you're a Patreon subscriber, you can watch Phil change his shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey, there it is. Yeah.
I'll give you a live feed to the video in my.
Guys, we just made an extra $50 this month, and I don't know
right. The USL show wet T-shirt contest.
I take the
Yikes! Fill the scarf wall with a nice Blue City scarf. Carson, if you or somebody in your club gives me a scarf, it'll go right there. I'll put it there.
It's a good-looking Timbers Army pride scarf too,
isn't it? Hey, I know the guy that shipped that out to me. See what happens if you send me scarves? They go where you can see them.
That's true, actually.
Imagine
I know the guy that sent it to you too.
I know. Right? Is that actually true? If it's not, I'll have to adjust it.
I'll even
do
trade. I got some St. Louis season.
Wait for it. I can't even see my own. Hold on. The Phoenix one was not. This is a gift. That's a once-off. Yeah, and then the Steel Army one we picked up there. Timbers Press. Yeah, so everything on the top shelf there is either a gift or obviously has some sentimental value behind it.
Does that make it more top shelf?
Gifts and sentimental value, yeah. I'm not looking to add to my Bethlehem collection though.
I know I've got more.
So
St. Louis.
It works out. So Carson,
look, people can
listen, send us scarves, y'all. We don't mind.
What I was saying earlier is I'll trade.
See everything on my wall.
I will, and yeah, no. If anyone listen, the only two things that are not touchable on this wall is that game day pennant and the autographed steel scarf I have from the first team in 2016. Other than that, I'm open to trades. So yeah, let's get that. Let's get that 2-time USL champ. Travel to Slugger, and I got you.
Carson,
right.
that's not hard for me, pal. That might happen.
It's
How about all these?
Talk to me, Goose.
How's it going, everybody?
What's up, Ben?
I just got really excited because I just found like 3 guys that have not been announced on the USL's website on our roster.
Well, hey, if you guys are anything like Reno, they'll be announced in about 20 minutes.
I almost wouldn't be surprised that we would do something like that.
Yeah, no, Reno just announced 5 people an hour ago. So
yeah. I honestly, for a little while there, I thought the Independents had forgot to announce Gutman because when he was in practice, the reporter down here broke the news early.
Oh no!
And they were like, "No, she wasn't supposed to do that." And it was like a week or 2 later that they announced it. So I was like, they may have just forgot. Like, I'm not going to tell them they forgot, but yeah, we actually have.
Listen, that was a hot situation in American soccer. They had to let the heat die down a little bit, then they announced them.
Hey, I'll take it. It's the best thing Don Garber's ever done for us. So
no kidding. No
the
kidding.
Best and only.
Yeah. But we actually have like more than 12 players that can fill the spot.
That exciting, by the way?
It's oh man, I tell you.
Let me tell you how great it feels to like not have 6 people sign on your roster.
Yeah, it's an interesting feeling. This offseason's been crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, no worries, man.
The invite.
No worries. Anytime. Anytime.
It's been a while since I've done double duty.
It happens. I appreciate it. I guess are we just gonna do the thing now?
Yeah, I'm set. I'm ready.
Cool. Hey everybody, welcome to the USL show. Brought to you by, of course, Roughneck Scarves, your home for anything you could possibly think of related to soccer scarves. Go check those guys out, roughneckscarves.com. Also produced by and graciously hosted by the Beautiful Game Network of podcasts. Check those guys out, bgn.fm on the interwebs and at the bgnfm on the Twitters. For all of your soccer podcast and or written content needs, mostly catering to USL, but there's some other really good stuff on there as well, including a new podcast that someone currently talking on this podcast might be a part of called Views from the Bridge, talking about the Philadelphia Union. So, cheap plug for myself right off the bat. Anyway, what you're listening to right now is the USL show, and I am your former graciously overthrown by himself and now current host, your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster and your favorite cheesemonger's favorite cheesemonger, Evan Villella, joined by my soccer friends, as always, the waviest man in the St. Louis metropolitan area, the cream in your Irish coffee, the lovely Phil Grims. Phil, what's up, buddy?
So, man, I've always felt like the seller of cheese deserves a better term than monger. Like, monger is not.
No, but it's old-timey and weird, and people don't know what it means and think it has negative connotations, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like it too, but it is a strange word for selling.
I think fishmonger is the weirder one. It just doesn't flow well.
I feel like it fits more so, though. Like, fish are
I am a fishmonger. That's actually how I check my levels before we record.
Fishmonger. Fishmonger is at the market.
The first Noel. Also joining me, man, it's been a minute since I've said this one. Softer than a down pillow, he is the Bernie Sanders of the USL. It's Ben Gosshorn. Ben, what's up, man?
Not too much. It's a good night in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Good.
How are you doing, Evan?
Yeah, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad to be back. It's always nice to be back on the thing that I kind of started. It's a weird feeling, but I'll get over it. Speaking of people that it's nice to have back, Kev McCamish, here we go. It's the best parts of Elliott Smith and Chuck Palahniuk all wrapped up into one. Big Kevin McCamish.
What's up? How's it going?
I'm living. How are you?
Doing pretty good, actually.
Good.
Kev, have you slept more than the 2 or 3 hours you got last night?
How's that
going?
Oh, great. Cool.
But I've had enough caffeine to probably put down an elephant. So
You've had enough caffeine to put Stumptown out of business?
There you go.
I had a Rockstar this morning and 4 coffees.
Glad you're here. Thanks.
I've heard Axl Rose is cheap and available.
I don't even know what that is.
I'm trying to figure that out.
Axl Rose, like the lead singer of Guns. Y'all are older than I am and not getting that reference. That hurts.
I thought you were referring to like a coffee drink or something.
Chat, back me up. Chat, back me up.
I know who he is. I just didn't know
what 2 people in there?
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Okay, Ben. Guys, what we're doing tonight. Also, we will be interrupted in a bit by Jason. So
is he gonna arrive like he did the last time?
Probably. I don't
know,
man. Whatever.
Like
he shows up. You know how it works. That's just what he does. Guys, great news. The regular season starts tomorrow in this here USL Championship 2019 campaign, the first with the championship branding. And we'll get into some news, and then before we release the big poll of our projected standings to the public, we'll go through our top 10 teams in each conference. And I think Jason put together a list. I think Goose is just here to tell us how wrong we are for the most part.
I can do
which
that.
I'm excited about. We always need someone to do that. Guys, a little bit of news first, though. A couple player signings and things from earlier today we'll talk about. First one, started off great. Kyle Culbertson gets signed to a multi-year contract from Birmingham Legion. Was with St. Louis last year, 28 appearances, 24 starts. Obviously, you guys made the playoffs, Phil. Jay Heaps said that he is a dynamic attacking left back that is an exciting addition to his back line. Valuable USL experience, quickly fits into the team. University of Akron, then transferred to Columbia University and then to the Ohio State University 2013 to 2015 with the Buckeyes, 10 goals and 42 appearances. Also played for the Charlotte Eagles, Mississippi Brilla, and the Cincinnati Kings in USL League 2. Phil, do you know of this Kyle Culbertson fellow?
Yeah, he was one of my favorite players last year, and that's saying a lot. But so first of all, he's just a shutdown. He's going to shut down that left side for sure at left back. And he's pretty good attacking, but he's like so good at shutting down defensively. And for some reason, he kind of lost favor at the end of the season, and I never understood why. So the other thing that happened, I don't know if it was around the same time. This might be the answer, but do you guys remember the double dive in Reno with the same player?
Yeah.
That's Kyle Culbertson. So there you go.
Wow.
He's really good, though. I wanted him back, to be honest. I didn't care. So he's going to do well for Birmingham. Multi-year deal. That's news to me because I didn't see that the first time. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I imagine that's a one with a team, right? I mean,
yeah.
It's usually what that means.
Yep.
I feel like it, yeah.
Other one, if people like teams signing teenagers to contracts, well, Sporting Kansas City helped you out. Swope Park Rangers announced their youngest signing in club history, 16-year-old goalkeeper Brooks Thompson. I will only refer to him as Brooks and Dunn. Joining the club for the 2019 USL Championship season. Started I imagine the most recent 2 preseason matches for Rangers, 5-0 over Barton Community College, and then a 2-1 win at North Texas. Was also with Sporting Kansas City in their preseason camp in Arizona, where they shut out a group of Phoenix Rising FC trialists. I'm sure Sam Dorr wanted to explicitly state they were trialists on January 23rd. Indiana native, U19 Academy stalwart for Sporting Kansas City, 6-2-3 record in 11 league matches, 4 shutouts, 1.09 goals against average. He is 6'3". And competed for the U17s as well throughout the 2019 Generation Adidas Cup. So he's played up not at the U17 level, but also at the U19 level. So that's a guy that they have some stock in, apparently. And then William Opoku Mensah as well joining on Wednesday. From Corella United in Ghana in the 2018 Ghanaian Premier League season, he was the captain, 7 goals in just 11 games, including a 19-minute hat trick against Hearts of Oak.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a lot to process there.
Yeah, you burned through like a lot of it. That's good.
Yeah. So
get to have fun.
TLDR on that one, young kid that plays for the U17s and U19s for Sporting Kansas City's Academy signed with Swope Park Rangers. And then a 23-year-old midfield prospect out of Ghana who scored a hat trick in 19 minutes.
Is he Rapapa Mensah's? Is he related? I don't know.
That's a good question.
I'm gonna guess no.
Yeah, probably not. Something that popped in my head when I saw the name.
Yeah.
We're gonna hit the Google.
To the Googles.
To the Googles. Give it a second. Hey, while that loads for me. Let's talk some Los Dos.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I thought you were going somewhere.
There it is. What's it? What?
That's Jason.
Konnichiwa,
Yeah,
uglies.
of course it's Jason.
He's been here for a minute, and I was like, I don't hear music. Maybe he's not ready.
Hey man, listen, I would hate, but I see you're wearing my favorite MLS kit of all time. So
Oh well, I was told that you're supposed to wear black to a funeral, right? And since this is your team and they're done for, I figured it was appropriate for me to wear this bad boy on.
Hot take of Bethlehem folding 2 years ago when people thought we were Rochester.
Was that it? They confused the name? That's what happened?
Yeah, it was a really easy mix-up. I know. The cities are super similar. Anyway.
What's up, uglies?
Hey, man, I was going to say something really nice about how, like, the de facto host of League One Fun, who's absolutely killing it. And, like, if you don't follow Home Sweet Soccer on Twitter, you're living your life wrong. But, like, now it's just all in the garbage.
Okay. So we're, you want people to follow me on Twitter so they can see you talking spicy to me. And now, that we're on camera and on podcasts, we're going to pretend you don't. Okay.
Yeah. That's about how that works. Guys, can you tell that Jason and I are from the same general area of Pennsylvania?
Is that true?
Yes.
It is. I'm the one that got out, though. So you see now we are in
but like,
luxury.
Whose fault was that for getting out? Your fault.
Yeah. It was on purpose.
Well, in the city still. I'm still here, dog.
Yeah. I come back to visit the peasants, make my presence known. Never leave the hood, Always keep it with
did I call this the USL show at the top? I apologize. I just meant welcome to the banter hour. Easy mistake. Anyway, Goose, to answer your question, apparently no correlation between William Opoku and Rapapa Mensah.
Okay.
And next bit of news, y'all. Switchbacks add 2 new pieces for 2019. Andre Rouse and Matt Hundley. Andre Rouse, the goalkeeper, Matt Hundley, a forward from the Colorado Rapids. Hey, look at that. They're using their affiliate. And it's almost like maybe because they're closer, they'll actually do that more.
I like it. What is it? Sam Vines is the left back or right back? Mm-hmm. Left back. I imagine he'll come down too, honestly, but it's cool that Hundley's over because he's, a promising striker, if I'm not mistaken, and was drafted by them this year. And, the Rapids weren't going to use him, so he might as well get out.
It's only taken them, like, how many years to finally decide to work together?
How long
Rapids and those switchbacks?
Messed up.
Since... Oh, God. Man, how many years has it been? It's been 2013, 14, 15. I don't remember.
Why send a kid down the road when you can cross the country?
Right. Why not?
Does this hurt you, Ben? We've got Goose on, so we might as well ask him about that.
Losing the Rapids affiliation, you mean?
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about it. I think
like the 5 games you got out of Caleb Calvert and Sam Vines.
I mean, like, from the perspective of like roster depth, I'll miss it. I'll miss like Caleb Calvert. I'll miss him. Thanks for stealing him, Phil. But certain aspects I'll miss. But overall, I think the fact that it has forced us and will force us to be independent and make our own decisions and fill our roster with our own players will be fine. Because, I mean, we had a situation, I think it was back in 2017, where Caleb Calvert did very well. And then lost him because the Raptors were like, oh, we want him back because he's doing well. So that's where it gets really tough. and where I'd rather just not have it.
Yeah. Goose, you're gonna have to tell me about Calvert another time.
I can do that.
He's good, and then he makes one or two mental errors. One of which he got a second yellow card for failing to re-enter the field of play in a proper manner.
Yeah. To put it simply, his ceiling is, well, he's got good prospects, but he always has a tackle around midfield from beside the player or behind the player that has the ball that he has no business doing. He receives what could be receives a yellow card, almost could get a red card, and then he profusely yells at the ref. It's a weird thing. But he's pretty good when he's good.
Yeah. To the point about Hundley, signed a homegrown deal with the Rapids in January, which is their 9th development academy player to sign a first deal. Spent the last year at UCLA, 19 appearances, 14 starts in his freshman campaign. So they pulled him out of college, which we're seeing more of that this year, especially with the two teams and feeder teams for MLS squads, is that the MLS team's able to get these guys to leave college early to play for their affiliate, which is another debate for another time. But an interesting trend nonetheless this year.
Homegrown, not drafted, like I said.
Homegrown, not drafted.
I forgot that.
Yeah, that's all right. Speaking of moving things to other teams, I don't know. Ottawa Fury gets some help from, surprisingly enough, their provincial neighbors, Toronto FC. Robert Buskovich, Aiden Daniels, and Sean Hundall, all loaned to the Ottawa Fury from Toronto FC. I like Sean Hundall. I like Aiden. I like all three of these guys, matter of fact. Boscovich, 55 appearances for Toronto FC2 over 3 seasons with the club. He's only 20, close to 21, so that's a big boost if a guy can have that much professional experience and only be 20. Daniels signed as a homegrown with Toronto last April, made a league debut shortly thereafter. Also featured for TFC2, 3 goals, 3 assists, and 33 chances over 65 appearances with them. Sean Hundall, I think most people will be familiar with him, played with TFC2 since 2016. 2 goals, 3 assists for the club in 24 appearances throughout 3 seasons, 15 goals, 4 assists, and 73. Guys, any thoughts on any of those 3 gentlemen? And is it a little weird to see Toronto helping out, in a way, Ottawa?
No, I love this, and I've been waiting for this to happen, and I think it's going to be more and more common. I don't know if Jason's been thinking this is going to happen, but obviously we all know that Toronto 2 is in League 1, but here they are loaning 3 guys over to a championship side in Ottawa because I think maybe they're worried about the level of play in League 1, or they're worried they're going to play all their kids in League 1, and they don't want these guys stuck doing that every single week. So they want a higher playing level for some of their better guys, and so they go to championship. I love it. I hope as more 2 sides maybe drop down, maybe we see a lot more of some of them go to League 1, and then some of them go to the championship on just a normal loan that you'll see around the world.
Yeah, I think they're planning on in League 1 to be playing the kids. I don't think that they want anyone that's probably legally able to drink. I think they just want, teenagers, and this is going to be a development team for them. I don't think that they want to bring in people there. You have tons of championship teams that are playing their kids, and then you have a random 30-year-old that they bring in who doesn't really, he can help develop them as far as experience and coaching, but as far as on the field, all you're doing is taking away an opportunity for another kid to be getting experience and playing time. So I think for that, it's beneficial to send those guys over, and especially to your Canadian brethren, right? Instead of sending it down to the U.S., and that might have to do with international spots, right? Because I think with the domestic thing, so that's probably the easiest way for Ottawa to get players. But yeah, I think that's a sign that the League 1 TFC2 is just going to be them developing the kids like Orlando and North Texas is doing.
So here's a question for everybody.
Sure.
Do you guys foresee kind of a split on how the USL used to be? So the championship would be taking, a lot more veteran talent, much more independent, team focused, kind of becoming a true second division, and then maybe some of these MLS2 sides will drop down to League One. That'll not become like, you know, a just an MLS2 league, but basically like a development league. Here's where we put all your kids, convince them to, you know, maybe not convince them to skip college, but, you know, maybe find some incentives, like sign for our 2 side in League One. We'll pay for college when you're, or give you money for college when you're done being a professional, because you know you'll probably be done being a professional by 30. Develop in a system that is a professional system in a professional league, as opposed to the current college system. And then, you know, then USL Championship just becomes like an actual league that's not used for partly independent sides and partly a development side.
Yeah, I absolutely think that, because, you know, if you're looking at what USL is structuring and what they're hinting, if they do want pro rel in a couple years or however long it takes, then championship needs to be its own individual league that is competitive and high level, right? And so what is the benefit of having half of your team of 16-year-olds and half of your team of 28-year-olds, right? Like when you look at Bethlehem Steel last year, you have a lot of promising players that could be playing for the Union that year or the year after, but then you also have a bunch of academy kids too, right? So how are they being looked at, right? That's not going to help the team be competitive enough to play in championship, but then that's also not going to help the older guys play if they move down to League One. So I absolutely do think that teams are going to have those middle-aged 24, 25-year-olds be in the championship, be a high-level playing team. And this way, when Pro Rel does set up, there you go. You have your individual teams. You have teams that are high-playing enough to where they might overlap the lower tables of MLS, and you don't have to worry about having your kids sit there and not being able to get minutes because you're trying to compete at that high level.
Yeah. And even like with these 3 loans is a pretty good example of it. Like for an MLS team, if we'll just use Sean Hundle as an example, he's got a lot of guys in front of him. So Josie Altidore is obviously their number 1, but like Jordan Hamilton's up there. There's a lot of other strong attacking talent on that team that are a little bit older than he is, or that make more money than he is. And those guys are obviously going to get the bulk of the minutes up there. In years past, before TFC2 existed, he's riding the bench, and it's going to be hard to loan him out because there's not a lot of teams, and there's not a lot of teams that need a striker. Now you have teams in USL like Ottawa, or a lot of teams in the East that could use a guy like Sean Hundle, who has experience at the USL Championship level. A proven, not 10 goals a year by any stretch scorer, but he's dangerous and he's fast, and he can win balls. And I think that's where the excitement for me is that there's a lot more options for these guys to get minutes and to prove themselves and things like that. And then I think the interesting part about the championship and League One, like Pro Rel kind of thing, comes in if they go that route, is for all of the MLS2 teams that are like, well, we can't drop to League One because the level of play is a known quantity in the championship, and we like that level. Well, then it becomes, all right, if you like being here, play to stay up. And I think that's a really interesting, response to that the USL seems to be trying to formulate.
Or it becomes, go ahead, Phil.
Just to add to that, I think you're right, Evan, but I do think they're also torn at the same time between what is probably best for a Tier 2 league in the United States. And, I mean, much like MLS, what's already there. Like we have Robert Kraft up in MLS kind of holding MLS back a little bit, all those guys that bought in early. Deservedly so, like getting a little bit of extra good treatment in different areas. We all know about that. Just like that, like we've got Red Bulls too. We've got Swope Park, who, they're a 2-side. No, they don't have a stadium. They have no game day environment to speak of. It's embarrassing in all those areas, but they play on a high level. They have a system in place, and they want their players to get high level competition. And they can't just send a few up to a championship side if they're at a League One side. They have a system, and it goes up and down. They use their players in both teams throughout the year. So, like, that's going to hurt teams like that, especially. And there are a lot of other arguments for all the other two sides for staying up. And I'm sure GMs and technical directors are not excited about having to be sent down if they can't trust League One. And so that circles back to what level is League One going to be? Is it going to be similar? Is it going to be close? Is it going to suck compared to Championship? And again, we've said it before, I think everyone's kind of waiting to see it is.
Here's something that they could consider. If you, let's say, before they instigate a pro rel system between the Championship, League One, and League Two, you kind of tier it out and you say, hey, you MLS2 sides, we're going to make you all go down to League One. And if you really suck, League Two. We're just going to kind of tier everything down. Championship is going to be independent teams only. And then we'll go from here. Like, you guys develop your young players however you want in your League One, your League Two teams. If you have some reserve players that you want to keep fresh, get some minutes, and maybe kind of keep available for playing in your first team, but they're older. You're not somebody you want to develop. You just want to keep them available. Find a USL independent side to loan them out to for a little bit. And then in a pro rel system, teams would be perhaps encouraged to play well as a development team to showcase their academy and their talent and be like, hey, we did so well in League One, we got promoted to the USL Championship. Come join our academy. Come join our system. We only want the best. And so that there's an attraction there. And then for the independent sides, it's like, well, we don't want to go and play with the development guys, so we want to do well and stay in the USL Championship. So there's, I think, regardless of how they structure it, where the teams end up before they might do a pro rel system, if they do a pro rel system, there is both, attraction and motivation for all sides to do well, regardless of where they start and where they want to be.
Goose, do you have any thoughts? We've kind of been leaving you out here, buddy.
I've been waiting for a moment just to kind of throw my 2 cents in. Not that I think this is going to be the case, but this is kind of the way I'm leaning towards. Do you think there's any scenario where we have League One mimic Championship in the sense that we're going to have certain 2 teams and certain independent teams and just build from there, where we're not going to have just entirely all the 2 teams in League One? Because I almost wonder if that's the strategy they're going for. Because
probably, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Right.
Realistically, I think that's where they would do just kind of a mix of both in both leagues.
Because if you have all your 2 teams, I think when I talked to Brendan Burke, and I wouldn't imagine that his sentiment is not shared by the other 2 team coaches that are in the championship this year, the kind of idea was, if we drop down to League One, why wouldn't we just play these kids at U19 or U17? And I feel like if all the MLS2 teams drop down, what's the point of basically playing, a U23, but they're on professional contracts and costing us more money? Cough.
It's a valid. Well, the other thing that you risk is potentially turning League One or into just another reserve league.
Yeah, MLS, and then who watches that?
And that completely failed.
Yeah. I don't think that's what they're trying to do though at all.
No.
And then like you look at the independent markets they're looking at, like they're looking at markets to where there's a lot of soccer attention and want, and I think that they're looking to where if they do end up creating this pro rel system, they're going to have teams that can move up the championship and show that they can bring 4,000, 5,000 people per game to there and gain even more attention once they're in championship. I think that, yes, as of right now, you have maybe 4 teams that are looking to say, okay, we're just using this as our development teams. But as those other teams drop down, whether they're independent or development teams, I think you're going to see a league of mix, right? And I think you're going to see teams that are trying their best to gather so much attention. They're bringing in loans of older players. Like when you look at Chattanooga, I don't know anyone under that team that's under the age of 21, right? Like they brought in international players, 30 years old, experienced, who just finished their peak. So they're looking to perform well. They want to come in that city, make an impact, and then if 3-4 years later, Pro Rel starts becoming a thing, they're going to be one of the first teams that goes, cool, look at our resume, look at our portfolio. We've been playing well for 3 years. These are the amount of people we bring in. We're ready to play in championship. We think we can compete in championship. And so I don't think they would, I think USL knows that. And I think these owners go into it knowing, having that mentality. So I don't think they would make the league something that's just, a reserve league or a farm team league.
Yeah, and just to put numbers on that we all have heard them say, not that they're concrete yet, but they're saying 10 to 12 are going to drop from championship down to League One. If every one of those are 2 teams, that's still not even half the league. We all know it's going to be 40 and 40 someday, right? That's another thing they've said. So, no worries in that department. It may be up to half, adding more MLS teams, and then they add more 2 teams to League One, maybe up to half, but I don't even see that,
And watch a lot of these teams too. Like you look at what Tormenta just put out today of developing their own academy from ages 2 to professional. These teams aren't playing. They want to grow. This is not we're going to have a little community and have 1,000 people come out. Nah, they want to grow. They want to have that market to where they've not been getting attention and showing, hey, this is what you're missing, similar to what Atlanta did to MLS, right? Where no one thought like, no one in the South cares about soccer. That's SEC country. And then now you see all these years what you've been missing. So that's, I think, what these other teams in USL League One are going to try to do.
Hell
yeah. Guys, I suggest, given what time it is, we get into the main event of the evening.
Do it.
We're not gonna go down the list and list off our 1 through 18 in the East and 1 through what is that? 1 through 18 in the West. How about that? Good job, USL. We can do math. But we are gonna do our top 10s at each conference. I think Jason, you had time to put together a list, and then Ben is here to be our moral compass, more or less, I suppose.
Oh boy.
Which is a terrible and horrifying thought in and of itself, but I digress. And then I think, Phil, you and I have to fight over teams because we have some disparities.
Yeah, we do.
That being said, I say, Ben, I have some bad news.
Oh.
I can't find the Talking Jacks pin, of which I flip to determine East or West. Nope. Just kidding. I certainly can.
Thank goodness.
Oh, man, that would have ruined the bit from last year.
Hey, Ben, real quick, do you like my shirt?
It's nice. I like it.
Okay, I'm burning it. All right, getting rid of it immediately. Immediately.
Oh, wow.
St. Louis kit lover? Absolutely not.
Okay.
Flatbacks. People in that club listen to this. Sorry, guys.
If I didn't have to take out a loan just to buy an MLS jersey, I'd send you a Portland Timbers jersey, Jason.
I only have so much equity in this house. I don't know how much you guys expect me to put up to buy a jersey. I don't know what you want from me.
Jason coming through with like the 2021 nonsense. I have equity. Anyway, it landed head side up, so I believe that means we talk about the Eastern Conference first. So 10, starting from 10 and going reverse up to 1. I'll just say my number 10, St. Louis, Kev's number 10, Swope Park, Phil's number 10, Tampa Bay. Jason, who was your number 10 in the East?
Red Bulls 2, Baby Bulls
2. And then I believe our aggregate number 10. What am I looking at here?
Birmingham.
Interesting. Kev, you picked one of the new sides to the East. Any reason for that one? To be fair, I had them at 9. Phil has them all the way down on 13. So take that as you will.
No, I really don't have any reasoning behind anything after like 6th or 7th. It's from 6th, 7th to the 18th. It's kind of a crapshoot.
Fair enough. Phil, I've always liked you guys as an Eastern Conference team more than the Western Conference team.
Mm-hmm.
I think this schedule treats you guys a little well, or a little better, at least as far as travel goes.
That's true.
And I think you're a little more of a known entity than a couple other teams that I have picked around you. So Have fun with that last playoff spot.
The play-in game?
The play-in game, yeah.
I'll be a little upset with that.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact if I'm a little upset about something, then St. Louis fans are going to be very upset.
Yeah, the Lilligans will be a little more than a little upset.
Yeah, but, maybe not again. They do have common sense, and the East is it's tight, so they may not mind that. We'll see if it happens. Hopefully it doesn't. I have them a lot higher. My bias is shining through.
We'll get there.
Yeah. I had Tampa Bay though, and I think that's because I'm like I kind of picked between what I thought they were going to be last year and what they ended up being last year.
Fair enough.
Kind of split the difference a little bit and thought, well, I like their roster. I'm not going to give them what I think that roster could do. I'm going to give them a little bit less than that. So,
Jason, talk the New Jersey children to me.
Yeah, I just don't know about their defense, right? Like I know like Nadam, I don't know if Hassan would have been playing for Red Bulls this year, and if not, he would have went back down to the baby Bulls, but FC Cincy said, nah, this is us. And so they lost him. I know they've lost Kevin Pulitz to Greenville in League One. Lombard, his option got declined. So I just don't know enough. And I know every year they come out and they always this is the same thing every year, right? Like we're like, oh, well, we don't know about them. And then here they go finishing fourth and, causing havoc in the playoffs. But I just don't know, right? I don't know if that defense, I think last year they really depended on that defense, right? They were winning games 1-0, 2-0. And in a league, especially in the East, where it seems like everyone got stronger offensively, I don't know if that's going to cut it now, right? Those 1-0 wins turn into draws or 2-1 losses, and that's what affects you, right? So I just don't see it for them being that team, but they like to prove everyone wrong every year and come out in fourth and sixth or whatever. So, maybe they'll do it again at this point, but I just don't see it on paper, right? That's all I've got to look at right now. And on paper, I don't know who is that defensive person to step in and really captain that and lead this team to the defensive unit they were last year.
Right.
Goose, who did you have again?
I had my Charlotte Independence at 10th.
Oh, modest.
Which, I feel like that's not a terrible stretch.
No,
but it's going to be. I'm curious where everyone else has the remaining 9 through 1, just because it's such a cluster. Kind of like Kevin said, top 4 mildly set, bottom 4 I think are mildly set.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that chunk of the middle, there's no telling what's going to happen.
It's a blunder. It really is.
Variables, and things that can happen, injuries, reschedules, things like that. I mean, you just never know. But I think we can sneak into the playoffs at the 10 spot fairly easily. I think we've got some really good talent on our squad. When that will gel, we'll see. But that's what's going to be fun this year.
Number 9 for all of us. I picked Swope Park. Kev has Birmingham. Phil has Ottawa. Phil, this is our first big change of the night, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I, in fact, have Ottawa at 16th in the East. You have them at 9.
Yeah, and I knew putting them that high was going to be way ahead of everyone else. But
yes.
I'm putting probably too much faith in Wallfall and Charlie Ward, who I both love. I've said that before. And then Francois got sent over there, and then the Toronto loans honestly should help them if they're coached up well. Yeah. And the coach I kind of trust, so we'll see what happens. But I know I knew I'd be the high guy. I like to take a chance here and there, and that's what this is for sure.
My thinking behind them was twofold. One, there is so much outside pressure on them before the season started. Well, actually, after last season ended for them in the will they not join the Canadian Premiership. There's so much pressure on them this season in the will they not join the Canadian Premiership. And last year, I thought that a certain team in Toronto, Ontario, Canada would do very well, and they didn't. So now I'm not taking any chances on a team in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. So.
Fair.
16 it is for you, Ottawa.
What do you think about Swope, though?
I think that the travel, much like y'all, suits them a little better. And for what it's worth, they're probably one of my strongest two sides, in my opinion, as far as how they play and, historically how good they've been. So I just like that organization a lot. I think Sporting Kansas City does a very good job as far as their academy kids go. And I'm excited. I think Swope Park gets the advantage of not having a lot of tape on them as well, which should help. And I think they can play pretty much any style that the East is going to throw at them.
Is Malaysia Messi going to be actually playing for them this year?
I don't know. I hope so.
I know Sporting's got him on the bench right now, and I don't know if they're just doing that because of CONCACAF Champions League or if they actually plan on using him for rotation depth. I know Jalen Lindsay started the other day, so and Busio's going to get his minutes. So Peter likes playing the kids, so it's possible. But I just hope that he is playing somewhere, right? I would hate to see him kind of be going
just ride the bench
up and down or riding the bench. And I kind of always fear that with Swope players, right? I always feel like there's always a chance to where they get called up for 4 or 5 games and might get 20 minutes, and then they get back, and then Swope just had 4 games without them. And it messes up the chemistry. It might mess up the record depending on how important the player is. So I'm always a little hesitant when it comes to Swope. Like you said, I think their system's great. I think the players are great, but I just never know what exactly Kansas City's going to be doing with them.
Yeah, but I think they do it on purpose, and I think they're
just trying to mess with the media, man.
No.
Okay, Alex Jones.
No, I think they love the rotation, and they like having. I mean, they literally have 3 to 5 guys they can plug and play at any given moment playing at Swope, and it is like usually use the term dogmatic in a bad way in any context. And in this way, I actually find that the dogmatic system between Sporting and Swope is a positive because they can plug and play all year long if they care to. So, they're going to get their minutes up there. And if Burmese doesn't like them, if they don't do well enough for Swope too many times in a row, he lets them go. We've seen that time and time again. Belmar's gone. And if he had been successful, he would have been signed to Sporting on a good deal, and he's gone now. So, that
was signed to Sporting.
What's that?
I thought he was signed to Sporting. He just never really played for the first team, but I thought
okay. Actually, I think you're right. Sorry.
Yeah, he was, because Belmar was originally a
but they didn't re-sign him, is what I should have said. Just like James Musa, and he wasn't productive once he went up there. He got a pretty good chance, to be honest, and wasn't able to produce. So he's gone, and they do that. That's just their thing.
Yep.
Who else do we got in the 9 slot?
Ben, who did you put there?
I am on the same page with Phil. I have Ottawa.
Huh.
I feel like I overestimated them last year too, but their midfield's going to be strong. I don't know who's going to score goals for them, but
Sean Hundle now maybe.
Yeah, it could be Sean Hundle. But I think Wallfall's a tremendous player. The 2 main pieces being losing Steven Dos Santos, Adonijah Reed will be another key loss, and then Maximine Crepeau.
Yeah, who is saving goals for them? That's where I'm waiting for someone to say it. Like they have a killer midfield, but who's saving goals and who's on their back line?
Yeah.
It will be interesting. They've definitely got some question marks, but I think the positives are more positive than the negative, maybe. Well, we'll see. They're definitely a bubble playoff team, kind of like they were last year.
It was a little surprising to me that they didn't go after David Charnier a little harder. He who just joined Hamilton Forge in the Canadian Premiership, formerly of the Montreal Impact. Just because they have a really good history of signing French Canadians, and he is a very good talent. He's not an out-and-out goal scorer. He's not a goalkeeper, so maybe that's why. But I just thought that would have been a guy they would have tried to come after a little harder.
I think they're throwing the bag at him in the Canadian Premier League. I think they're throwing the bag.
Oh, probably. Yeah. I don't know. And I mean, Hamilton's probably, if you wanted my opinion on the CPL, because I know you all did, Hamilton's probably going to win that puppy handedly.
If Ottawa can finish the season the exact same they finished the previous 2 seasons, that would be good for 10th place, and they would get in the playoffs this year.
Huh.
There you go.
That's so funny that we always think that they're going to do better than they are, and then I come in super low, but they've actually been pretty consistent. Imagine.
Consistently mediocre.
Yeah. Well, listen, mediocre this year gets you in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Let's do 7 and 8 at the same time. I feel like we're going to go too long if we don't.
Yeah, no worries. I got you.
Quickly, my 9 is just to make Phil happy is St. Louis.
Oh, thanks. Sorry, Jason.
Yeah.
I almost passed you.
Nah, just easy travel, and I think you guys picked up a couple of people that's going to help you and in the offensive, right? Because I think your defense is fine, but you guys talked about with Calvert, and then getting homie from Cincinnati, Russell
Cicerone.
There you go. Yep, Cicerone. So I think you guys are going to have a couple of offensive help this year, and he'll pretty much be on par with what I think you guys were last year. And so, I have you guys around that 9 area.
8-7 in the East for me. Birmingham, Charlotte for Kev. Charlotte, Tampa Bay for Phil. Charleston, Charlotte. Jason, you're 8-7 in the East.
Birmingham and Charlotte.
All right, Goose.
I got the Baby Bulls and the Battery of Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're all in the neighborhood.
Yeah. A lot of Charlottes, a few Charlestons, couple Birminghams, a Pony in there too.
Pony and Ryan both had Tampa Bay at 7 for what it's worth.
Wow.
So our stats guys apparently are big on Tampa at 7. Although I think that's a little low, but given their away form, I can see how they'd think that. Birmingham's a toss-up for me. Spoiler alert, everybody. We're going to talk about expansion teams being a toss-up a lot tonight, apparently. So if we mention an expansion team, maybe instead of going on a huge rant about how they're a toss-up, we'll just boilerplate. Expansion teams are funny, and we don't really know. But I like what Birmingham has to offer. I like Chandler Hoffman. I like that they arbitrarily moved their home opener back a day for no reason. Just kidding. It'll be great. It'll be great.
I think teams that we're seeing in these 7 to 10 spots, maybe 5 to 10, are teams that I would be. They're on the playoff bubble. I would be surprised if they don't make the playoffs, because if you look at Charleston, they got in the playoffs in 2016 and 2017 and 2018. Red Bulls, they got in the playoffs all 16, 17, 18. Salt Park Rangers, they were in the Western Conference, but they also made the playoffs in all 3 seasons. You got a lot of these teams where they're regularly making the playoffs. I mean, Charlotte made 5th in 2016, 5th in 2017, and then kind of an outlier season did 11th and missed the playoffs last year. But these teams, I feel like just going on historical, a historical basis there, and if they keep doing what they've been doing, even with the tight East, I'm sure that I feel safe that some of these guys are going to be top 10 in the East.
We got to throw in the classic Pony. Charleston has never done badly. It doesn't matter what players they have.
Right.
They're all going to drop out when they lost from Mario.
Charleston's like offseason to-do list is like make sure Mike Anhauser's our head coach.
There you go. Thank you.
And then they're like, all right, we're cool.
Carolina challenge up, and we'll figure out the rest.
Yeah. How much are they going to miss Hackshaw though?
I don't know.
How much did they miss Romario
and Lasso?
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah.
Who cares?
I think
Mike Anhauser is their 12th man. Damn it!
They still got 4th last year out of 16.
Yeah,
they're gonna get 4 this year. Hell, why not? Out of 18, they'll get 4
probably
out of
what
20.
I think that's what I had them. Did I have them at 4? I did have them at 4.
You do, yeah. You and Pony both, in fact, have the Charleston Battery at 4. I suppose that'll be a good segue. 6 and 5. I have your Charleston Battery and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Kev has Red Bull 2 in Pittsburgh. Phil has Red Bull 2 and St. Louis. The homer he is. Goose, who do you got?
I have St. Louis and the Rowdies.
Okay. And Jason?
I got Tampa and the Riverhounds.
Okay. Yeah. We're all we're doing it.
Yeah.
Union Legends on Tampa. Hoping
your
John
boy,
McCartney.
Darth Helmet. John
Listen,
McCartney.
John McCartney, I think if he plays to the level that he can play at, that's the difference for Tampa this year on those away
if he
games.
plays to USL Goalkeeper of the Year with the Rhinos, rest in peace, then that's their guy. Wasn't thrilled to see that he let one slip through his hands in one of their preseason friendlies.
You get it over with now, you know?
Yeah.
Get out your system, and then you'll be good to go. But I think especially on a lot of the away games last year, they let games get away from them. So if you have a goalkeeper keeping you in it, then it allows your offense to pick it back up. And then when you have players like Hope and Note who seems to keep it together late, right? Like I looked and he had
and he's like one of the purest distributors in USL.
Yeah, he had
nowhere.
5 assists in the last 10 minutes of a game last year, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So he's just like the player that if John McCartney can keep them in the game, that can come up late, know who has the tired legs, know who's going to make the run, and he's the one that can make the difference and, get those draws on the road or even get the wins, especially if it's been a hard-fought game.
Yeah. Also, can we, whichever team wants to jump on this in the interest of time and fairness, whoever comes up with the sauciest player, and whenever that player gets an assist or does something really cool, people get free hot wings. That would be cool.
Evan loves his marketing schemes. This is
thanks.
You can make a living in USL. Just sell them to everyone in the USL.
Yeah. I'll just sell them up, bro. It'll be fine. Did Evan call you about the thing? Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, we did the wing thing. It's fine.
Why did we not put fake numbers in our email signatures? Damn it.
There was a lot of Pittsburgh though in that last one.
Hey, there's a lot of Pittsburgh in this one too. 5 and 4 for us. Pittsburgh were both myself and Kevin's number 5. Phil, you had St. Louis. Pony had Pittsburgh as well. Ryan had Red Bull too. Guys, it's a Bob Lilly coach team that plays on a weird surface. That's all you need.
Is Dos Santos going to be the guy, though?
So, trick question. When you only score 20 goals a year, you only need a guy to score 5.
But it's true. What about who's setting him up?
It doesn't matter. Okay, sorry, I had to clarify. When you only score 20 really greasy goals a year, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds are like the late 90s, early 2000s New Jersey Devils of the soccer world, in that it's not terribly fun to watch, but it's effective.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you allow 26 goals last year and best defensive team in the league, you only need to score a goal or two a game.
Yeah, it's not, and the problem is when you can't stop a penalty kick.
No,
it doesn't end that well for you.
Oh. Come on. Hey, to answer your question though, Kevin Kerr, Nico Brett, Kenardo Forbes. Come on. I mean,
I would have loved to see Francois with Dos Santos though.
Yeah. Well, and that's fair. That's fair. But Dos Santos and Valesky's back. I think
that's fair.
Lilly's brought back guys that have scored for him and worked hard for him. And so I am worried though. I mean, I'm not against you guys. I think I'm scared that he trusts these guys and it's a different league than 2 years ago when those guys played for him. So I don't know if it's going to work, but there's still a lot of talent that can just spread around 5 goals a piece and it could happen.
Fair.
I like Pittsburgh more than everyone else, I think, still, but they do have to score more than they usually do.
You do. Yeah, you have them way up.
Everyone figured out just to give Lilly the ball. So,
Ben, any thoughts on those, or Kev, anybody?
I'm pretty. I don't know where Kev or Phil has Pittsburgh, but I may be the highest on them.
Okay.
Maybe I've been listening to too much Mongols. I don't know.
Then we'll move on and see how high we can't get that Pittsburgh projection to be. That was our 6 and 5, our 4 and 3. I have Tampa. Kev has Charleston. Phil has Indy. Pony as well as Charleston. Ryan has Pittsburgh. Jason, who do you got?
Indy.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. And I know everyone's talking about Indy. I know they've got an offensive juggernaut.
Yep.
I don't know what is going on right now with their back line and their formation. I do not know. Listen, And people have been, I had Indy fans super upset with me because I was roasting them for losing to League One teams, right? And obviously score doesn't matter.
Hey, they're the best team ever.
I'm sorry?
They're the best team ever?
Yeah, best team ever. It was reported in the news.
Arsenal's Invincibles team, nothing on Indy 11-29.
Who's Henri?
I don't know.
But I don't know what's going on. Like, it's not good to go into a season not knowing the formation and the style that you guys are going to play.
I don't know if this is going to help anybody, but I think they're going to play a 3-4-3.
Hackshaw played in 3 different spots for 3 different games. I don't understand what is going on right now. And so, I think eventually they'll probably get it together, right? They just have too much power, but there's a chance they don't. So I'm not going to put my faith and put them in, the top of the table when I don't know if they actually have the defense to do it.
I have like I said a couple weeks ago, I'm like between Indy and Nashville. I worry about the coaches. I worry about both of them. And I saw an awesome goal from Nashville, so that's why I like them. I won't even talk about them later because that's my only reason is I like them.
Hey, Gary Smith's still going to be there next year, so.
Right.
That's really weird.
New boss, same as the old boss, as Ryan put it today. I hope you saw that tweet. It looked pretty, and sometimes in the East especially, it's hard to score pretty all the time.
Yeah.
But they can pull it out with their talent. All right, the thing about Indy, I agree with everything Jason just said, but they are like super practical. Like I think this coach could really mess it up. But the thing is, they don't play pretty soccer, but they got Dane Kelly up top. They got a lot of other quality players around the field, and they could just like be athletic and launch the ball and still win a game. And there's something to be said for that in the USL. And so I have them lower than Nashville, but I feel like I could flip flop 1 and 4 or 5 with Indy or Nashville multiple times throughout the season.
See, here's the thing with me, like, especially when we did the team draft, like it was between Nashville, Indy, and Louisville for who I wanted to pick first.
Yep.
And, I could go with Louisville. They're the champions. They've like either gotten first or second like 3 years in a row. They've won the thing 2 or 3 times. I can't remember. So they're a team that knows how to win. Indy has certainly improved. Nashville, I think, has improved too. I ended up going with Nashville as for my number 1 draft pick because, I feel like if they can keep the defense solid like they had last year, with the improvement in the attacking, that should be enough to get them first. Also, I wouldn't, they're gonna use the same MLS things. I guess we'll call them things that Cincinnati did, but they'll be probably a more likable team doing it. And then at that point it's like, well, who's gonna be second or third, Indy or Louisville? And I honestly think it'd be a toss up between either one. It's just gonna depend. But I think Nashville's going to be first, and I'm hoping so because I picked him in the draft.
You guys got Dane Kelly winning Gold Boot?
I mean, probably.
So who's the most important player in order for him to have that?
What?
It's not setting him up.
Goalkeepers in the Eastern Conference?
Well, who's setting him up?
Streakoff, right? Or Walker. But I still don't trust him. Like, that's the thing. I'm with you, Jason. Finish your thought because I'm with you.
No, you're right there. That's all I had to say.
Right.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Pretty sure Illich was the leading assister for Louisville last year.
Illich started 32 games, right? Or played 32 games, was subbed off 17 of them. So he's put in some minutes, but I'm saying time is affecting him. I don't know if he's going to be able to be the motor that they can depend on, right?
Right.
They've got a very high ceiling, but it is going to be curious if they pull it all together. I have high faith in them because if they can make the playoffs with the 2 months time span putting their roster together and doing everything they did, that coaching staff, I think if they have this much time to build their roster and do everything and do the preseason and everything else like that, I feel like anything less than a top 4 finish is a disappointment.
Yeah,
for sure.
Even a top 3, honestly.
I totally agree. And I also forgot about Illich, and so that does scare my thought process there. Goose, that's a good one.
2-1 for us. My number 2, Nashville. My number 1, you're reigning and defending Louisville City FC. Kev's number 2, Indy. Kev's number 1, Nashville. Phil's number 2, Louisville. Phil's number 1, Nashville. Pony, Indy, Nashville. Ryan, Louisville, Nashville. I get it, guys. I get it. They're going to Emil. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. No one beats Louisville in the playoffs. A, with Brian Ownby on the field. B, at Slugger.
Slugger Field.
The joy to watch on the television screen.
But it's Hackworth, and it's not Lancaster.
And he won.
They've always scored by committee, though. That's the thing about it. Like, as much as I
get it. Cam's not there. I agree, Goose. But, like...
Yeah. And Lucky Kosana. Don't forget about him.
Yeah.
He was on a really bad Penn FC team last year.
He was on a terrible Penn FC team.
But he was still pretty decent.
He was very good for that very terrible team.
I think he's going to be an X factor for him. I mean, they definitely didn't replace Lancaster. I mean, they're losing Ren Jetsing, their goalkeeper, pieces like that. But
they got Paco Craig.
He's got to be the defensive player of the year, I think, for them to compete.
I mean,
for them to win it.
I agree, and he was arguably last year.
Oh yeah, 208 clearances, crazy, but or whatever some crazy stat it was, but 111, whatever. But like, because of them losing that, they're depending on him. He has to keep that back line together. He has to be the one to step up and have a season of his life.
And I think more importantly than that is the culture. You know, I think Louisville is not Louisville unless they have the culture of just that work ethic, that James O'Connor something, whatever it is, je ne sais quoi. He is what has made them so good. And he wasn't able to implement that sort of culture in Orlando. And I'm certain that's why it worked so bad last year. But Hackworth can do it. I think he can do it, and he has it in him. But can he? Is it going to happen with the new?
I think he can. I think that's a really good fit for City and coach.
Yeah. I don't doubt it, because you see that similar bite in the U17s that he coached. So it's definitely within his grasp.
Yeah.
Carson likes my prediction. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
I'm just glad Pony's here because his list is real similar to mine. I don't feel like such an idiot.
Fair enough.
Thanks, Pony. Or thanks, Goose. Did I say Pony? I meant Goose.
You did. We have so many animals in the USL. Let me tell you. You know, we have Fresno, the Foxes.
Yeah.
We will quickly move over to the West.
We've got Nashville for the win, by the way.
Nashville for the win?
Yeah,
okay.
I got Louisville
Goose,
second,
who did you
Nashville
have for the dub?
Oh, Goose, did you say your top two?
I didn't. See, I have Pittsburgh as number 2 and Nashville number 1.
Yeah, that's what.
Whoa, wait, where? Whoa, no, do it again.
I mean,
no, I was thinking that early in the season. I was.
I could be wrong. I
could be.
Don't say that, Goose.
No, I forget exactly what somebody said, but I saw somebody tweet something, and it's like, I could be way off. I've been wrong before. So that's the way I feel. Like last year,
how I start every tweet.
I don't even want to look at my my predictions for the season last year at the beginning of the season. They were not good. Yeah, but Western
Conference. Speaking of them Foxes,
I got speaking of the Western Conference. Hold on, I unfortunately have to jet. So the only person here from the West, unfortunately, must leave before you even discuss the West.
yeah, man.
All right, you guys have a good night. I got to get jet and help get my kids to bed. So
cool.
Thanks, Kev.
Hey, thanks, Kev. Have a good night.
Later.
So our 10-9s from the Western Conference. Myself, I have those Fresno Foxes at 10, Oklahoma City Energy at 9. Kev had Portland at 10, Oklahoma City Energy at 9. Phil had Fresno at 10, Colorado Springs at 9. Ryan, OKC, Las Vegas. Pony, OKC, Las Vegas. Ryan, Portland, and Colorado Springs. Jason, who did you have?
You're going to get mad at me for my 9. For my 10, I've got Vegas. And for my 9, I got the Monarchs.
I'm mad at your 10.
Really?
And your 9.
I know you
You're
guys
off to a great start.
Are high on Monarchs. I don't know.
I like.
There's they've lost too much for me.
I'm actually not as high as 3 of my co-hosts. Spoiler alert, I have them at 6th. Kev, Phil, and Ryan have them Kev, Phil, and Pony have them at 5. Ryan also has them at 6. I like them a lot for the same reasons that I like Swope Park, and that I just really like that system.
But I agree that they've lost a lot.
They have. No, they certainly have.
Finish your thought there.
Yeah, I don't know. When you lose those type of players and the players that they did lose, it's a system, but it's going to take time. And in the West, I think you have all of these teams that added offensive power, just already had offensive power. They're going to have to play catch up. And I don't know if they get to it in time. I think they're going to start the season a little iffy. And then by the time they do get it together, though, then it's just a race, right? It depends on who's in shape, what injuries are happening, who has the better rotation. And so, yeah, I just don't know. I'm not saying that they can't be 6th, 4th, 5th, whatever, but I don't see the solidification for me to choose them that high.
Ben, are you showing Fresno any California love at 10 or 9 or higher?
I don't know enough about Fresno, to be honest with you.
Fair enough. Well, let me tell you, do you like foxes?
I do. I've always been curious what the fox says. So. I don't know. That was. Oh my God.
All right. Bye, Ben. Thanks for joining us. You could have made a fantastic Mr. Fox reference, which would have been appropriate.
Like
you did not. So.
Juan Pablo Caffa is 238 years old. I don't want that for a whole season.
And he's still amazing.
Now wait a minute.
But for the whole season, that's who you're going to depend on.
And he's going to be good when he's 239, and he's going to have a hard fall off at 240.
We'll see the way that Wijnaldum has these, as he calls them, ferocious dogs. Please don't ever refer to your players as dogs.
As literal animals, please.
Yeah, just say your players.
Unless they are literal animals. I don't know.
Llamas only allowed at
right?
Field.
I would have been okay Llamas if he was like, "Yo, we got a pack of vicious llamas." I would have been like, "Word."
But no, when they're implementing that high press and moving around, I don't know. I just don't. I mean, he proved me wrong, right?
Did y'all see that they beat Toronto in preseason? By the way,
the thing about the thing about Caffa though is that he doesn't have to run to be good. He's a free kick champion. He's incredible at that. So all the guys in Fresno got to do is get around the box,
win free kicks,
and and then
draw fouls, and then let him take over.
All right, guys, let him hack at Caffa for 60 minutes.
Dive the second anyone's near you, we're good,
and we're parking that bus.
The problem is word is out on that, so I think.
Sorry for blowing up the spot there, Fresno. It's our fault. 8 and 7. My 8. Colorado Springs, my 7, San Antonio FC. Sorry, Harry. Kev's 8 was Colorado. His 7, New Mexico. Phil, OKC at 8. Vegas at 7. What are you guys doing? Where are you going? Damn it.
That just shows you
Pony's
he doesn't
8,
even
Colorado
remember
Springs,
doing
Pony's
it.
7, San Antonio. Ryan's 8, OKC. Ryan's 7, Real Monarchs. Ben, any thoughts on any of those?
I don't. This is great analysis.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah, I think the West is somewhat similar to the East, really, because there's been, per usual with the USL, a lot of turnover, a lot of changes. Yeah. I'm surprised to see San Antonio this low, though. Evan,
hey man,
I don't know. I think I'm definitely curious to see where the other players are, or where the other clubs are going to be later on in this lineup. Yeah.
To be fair, in our staff or in our podcast chat, I did say I was half tempted to fill out maybe the top 6 in the West and then just go anybody else for 7 through 18. Because as you guys will see tomorrow when we release this full list to the viewing public, there's certainly teams that I think are going to be in the bottom of the table. But outside of that, man, it could be anybody. What's that?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay, cool. It's fine. Tacoma, how you doing? Love your logo. It's not going to matter. Phil, any? What are you doing with Vegas up at 7, man?
I got a good vibe. I think
you're just a really big Eric Ronaldo fan, eh?
No, I'm not at all. But so
what are you doing?
I do think he's gonna coach them up. I think he built a good roster, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know what? God help us all if I'm right, because if he does that well, we'll never hear the end of it.
I kind of hope we get chirped on a weekly. Geez, I can't wait for like Sunday morning. I'm gonna wake up and it's just gonna be like Eric Winalda mentioned you in a comment. I'm gonna be like, oh,
right. You know what? One of these people in our chat right now is actually Eric Winalda. So
I believe it. Eric,
up, man.
Harry playing that long con.
Come on the show. You don't have to sit in the chat. It's fine.
Oh, the Seriously Loco podcast? No, that's Eric Winalda. Who would want to cover El Paso? No.
Wow.
No, I love those guys. I'm kidding.
Where do you have them on your list?
Real low.
The El Paso podcast? Probably top 5.
And right above them.
Yeah, I have them so low that I didn't even bother writing out their full name. Like
ELP is the place to be.
It is Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, baby. They're gonna finish 17th in the West this year.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Yeah, we got to keep going before this really gets crazy. 5 for myself, or no? Am I good? I'm right.
6 and 5, I believe.
6 and 5. All right. 6 Monarchs, 5 Reno. Kev had San Antonio Monarchs. Phil had San Antonio Monarchs. Pony had New Mexico Monarchs. Ryan had San Antonio and New Mexico. Jason, what you got?
Colorado and San Antonio.
All right. So, yeah, not bad.
Goose.
I would honestly, I think the ceiling for New Mexico is probably about a 4 or 5. But
oh boy, I have some news for you.
High on them as anyone could be, really.
Oh, I disagree with you, sir.
You wow, okay, you must have.
I have them at 3.
3.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You look at the squad though. I think the biggest hindrance they're going to have is playing on the baseball pitch. Potentially, I don't
unless they turn that into a slugger field advantage.
That's the thing, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Then they're really scary.
Lane does that, to be honest with you. But the depth of squad that they put together, I think is, if they're lower than a 5 seed, I'd be amazed, to be honest.
Who is
this? New Mexico. Yeah. Because I mean they have. I think I just saw today. This isn't a huge thing, but I think it's a mild factor. They have 9,500 tickets sold for their season opener.
Yeah,
and they've got a lot of.
In fact, El Paso. Speaking of, I'll make amends here. Just announced they sold out actually this afternoon.
I saw that. Yeah.
So good for them.
Wow.
I think San Antonio is another, like New Mexico, what you guys are saying. I have their ceiling pretty high. I think they have they took care of what they struggled at the most last year, right? Bringing in Kai Green is huge to me. He can take on anybody one-on-one, and that was easily the weakest spot on their whole team last year. And then you've got Josh Yarrow now. You've got the kid from, he's not a kid anymore, but Sporting Kansas City, Didick or something. Didic, there it is. So yeah, they've taken care of their defense, and that's what they struggled with the most last year. Let's just see if Billy can put in some goals and they can keep up with the scoring.
You're the highest on Colorado Springs too, Jason.
Yeah,
by far.
Yeah, I think their defense was great last year. It was scoring goals, and that's the main issue I have now is can they actually do it this year too? But yeah, bringing in Rawls and bringing in Hundley from Colorado, or the Rapids, I should say. I think that they are pretty much where they were last year and a little better. So if they can have a stellar defense and hold teams to a goal and they can score 2, I don't see why they couldn't get up to 6, 7, or 6.
There you go.
Yep.
Get another 5.
Yeah. 5 and 4, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Reno, Orange County for me. Kev had Monarchs Reno. Phil had Monarchs Reno. Pony had Monarchs Reno. Ryan has New Mexico, Orange County.
Oh crap! Were we supposed to do 4 and 3? Did I mess that up?
No, I think you're right.
Okay.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
Monarchs Reno.
No, you're not.
Monarchs.
No, you're not. No, we were supposed to do 4 and 3. Let's do 4 and 3. I had OC New Mexico. Kev had Reno, Orange County. Phil had Sacramento or Reno, Sacramento. Pony had Reno, Orange County. Ryan had Orange County, Reno. Jason, who'd you have?
OKC and OC.
Okay.
I might be the highest on OKC.
You are, in fact, by a substantial margin. In fact, the next highest person to you is number 8.
Wow.
Two of us have them. Phil and Ryan both have them at 8. I have them at 9.
The year of Jamaican strikers. I'm trying to tell y'all. And I think OKC is ready for it. I think Deshaun Brown is going to be contending for Golden Boot. Like I mentioned last USL show, Gordon's going to have a breakout year because now he's not dependent on scoring goals. He's dependent on creating chances and kicking free kicks, and that's what he does best. And then they had defensive pickup. So that's like Mikal Williams, also a defender, great in the air, can go forward, has great crosses. The only thing that I question is that defensive midfield position. And kind of, they got Garcia from Vegas, but he's another one that's getting up there in age. So yeah, I don't know. But I think offensively, even having like Cato being picked up, I think that's a team that's going to put in the goals. I think Cato's an important part of that too. I just wonder what's going on with the defensive midfield. That's all, especially if they have that. I don't know what kind of style Coach Cook is going to play. I don't know if he's going to be pushing forward a lot, but if there's a lot of space back there, I don't trust Garcia to cover it. Especially since he's been known to slide from behind. So yeah, that's the only thing I question. But it'd be cool if Josh Garcia can get on the field too from their U23s and get some minutes because I think he's a really talented player.
Yeah. Hard to argue. I mean, they have a long way to go from where they were last year, so they got to get their stuff together. I don't know if they're going to get off to a hot start per se.
I don't think they will.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily agree with you either on how high you put them, but I always like putting one or two up higher than, taking a chance on them, and I respect what you're doing.
I like seeing them what Louisville did, getting hot at the end of the season at the right minute, going on a streak and taking that into the playoffs. That's where I see this happening. And then when they brought in the 2 French internationals, they even have more offensive depth up front. That's like the rotation. They're going to figure out what works for them. And so how I see it is midway through, they gel, they fit their system, and towards the end of the season, they go on a 5, 6, 7 game win streak. And you don't ever want to play the team in the playoffs that's hot because that's how Louisville wins the championship last year.
Very cool. Well, we got a lot of OC and Reno, little Sacramento right around here.
I'm just going to do 3-2-1 just because our one is unanimous. My 3, New Mexico. I'm going to talk about it in a second. My 2, Sacramento Republic. Kev's 3, Orange County. Kev's 2, Sacramento. Phil's 3, Sacramento. Kev's 2, Orange County. Pony had Orange County 3, Sacramento 2. Ryan had Reno 3, Sacramento 2. We didn't say a name yet. It's Phoenix. They're our number 1.
Consensus number 1 in the West.
Consensus number 1. Jason, full consensus?
Yep, full consensus.
Yep. Who'd you have at 2? Who'd you have at 3?
I had 2 at Sacramento, and at 3 I had OC.
Okay.
Goose, so same way.
Real quick about New Mexico United. Let me just say some names. Kevon Frater, Cody Mizell, Santi Moore, Devin Sandoval, Josh Suggs, Chris Weehan, Austin Yearwood. Just, that's not like a typical expansion roster.
Not bad. I think Weehan's huge.
Weehan's huge. More huge.
Yeah.
I'm biased. I like Santi as a person. He's a good dude. But, USL Rookie of the Year runner-up 2 years ago. Devin Sandoval is a guy that, can help. Kevon Frater is very good. Mm-hmm. It's not your typical expansion team.
No.
And I don't know. I just, something about them feels good and right. And I definitely think like all of these predictions and everything, right? This is like our version of the best case scenario for all these teams is where they end up. I think as far as like if I did a worst case scenario standings, like New Mexico United is like 8th.
Yeah.
Like I think they're clean in with a shout in the playoffs. Yep. And I don't think they have a play-in game. Like I think they're just in.
Dang.
I think I've got them at 7. My thing is and it's just a personal thing with me.
Sure.
I really do. I know USL Championship might be different, but I think experience is important. I think once you get into the playoffs,
yes,
I think it's a whole new ball game. So you can have a great season, but as an expansion team being in the playoffs for the first time, especially if you have to play a playing game or you have to play a team like, let's say, Reno or OC, right? Like, they've got the experience, they've got their system. I don't know if New Mexico is ready for that jump in the first year.
I think that trust we're talking about, or like that good feeling we're getting from them, is similar to like Birmingham, who's not ranked nearly as high as New Mexico. But the thing that these two teams did is we trust them more because they have USL veterans. You know, I guess you guys were alluding to that, but like people like El Paso and Austin, I think they scare us more because they're like unknowns to us. And so, you know, Birmingham has some proven players. New Mexico has a lot of proven players, and it's
like, you know, to Jason's point he made earlier about like we're seeing teams not have a bunch of 20-somethings and then a 30-year-old guy. And not that he's 30, he's 27, he'll be 28 in June. But like there's not a whole lot of guys like Devin Sandoval that are out there, where he's got 58 caps for Real Salt Lake and he has 25 for Atlanta United too. Like, he's played at every level in the US professionally, is a guy that, you know, endeared himself to Real Salt Lake, and now New Mexico gets him. I don't know. Like, that's not just like a random dude that you pick up and put in your midfield.
I agree. They have a high ceiling. I'm afraid to always take a first-year team in the playoffs. I think playoffs is a whole different experience, and they do have the vets that can help. But I think if you haven't been there, you're still going to have players who are starting that haven't been there, and it's tough. Yeah. Especially if that's an away game, it's tough.
Yeah, that's fair.
In the top three here, people who aren't getting enough press, in my opinion, is OC. You know, no one's talking about them.
No, I mean, they never do, right?
It's definitely true, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. But, I mean, they were damn near unbeatable most of the season last year, and they were doing it playing pretty soccer. Like, it wasn't like, you know, they ended the season with 66 points. Phoenix was 3 points behind that, you know, and SAC was just barely behind them too, which is something that we're not really talking about as much. But, I mean, these teams were so good last year in the West, and, you know, they didn't quite do it in the playoffs. But, man, I really like OC a lot.
I think Sacramento's added pieces where they needed to add pieces and kept guys where they needed to keep guys.
I think both. Yeah, I think so too. And I like the depth. I like that they picked back up Shannon Gomez. I like Matt Mahoney coming from your steel.
Yep. That dude will get over with that club in a heartbeat.
Josh Cohen has to be the man, though.
Cohen,
He has to be the man.
He's got a little help in front of him, hopefully.
Yeah, but I like OC too. I'm telling you, the year of Jamaican strikers.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, he gets set up by Quinn. Quinn had 2,400 passes at the most in the league at 78% accuracy, 106 key passes. Are you kidding me? That man's going to get set up and score, baby. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm not certain Etta Voltson was the secret there. I think it might have been Quinn, but we'll find out.
Anybody else with final thoughts about it? Can be anything, because I have one, and it's very specific to a certain team that I happen to enjoy. But if anyone's got any thoughts about their team or some others, I'll open the floor and then we'll get out of here.
How many goals is Adam John scoring?
That's the question, man.
Do I have to put like a solid number to it, or do I get? Like
is it enough for Phoenix to be as good as they were last year, or is that going to be what makes them lose in the championship?
Yeah, man, that is you nailed it.
Well, I mean, what made them lose the championship last year was their midfield didn't really show up.
That's true.
But I mean, and by that I mean literally that match. But I if he like hits the ground running, they'll be fine. If he doesn't, it might be a problem. Like if he's streaky, hey, it's a thing that applies to every team. Blanket statement. If he's streaky, like then it'll be a problem.
Yeah, that movie put in preseason on someone surprised me a bit, and so that made me start thinking, oh, they might be fine.
But if he's a guy that like is enjoying his soccer again and really clicks with that town and that dynamic and maybe the warmer weather, then he'll be all right.
What you think, Goose?
I'm super excited to see him at this level. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, no, we got
you.
Okay, good. Yeah, I it's so tough liking Phoenix because being on the East Coast and whatnot,
right,
and time changes. But they're just a really solid squad, and sure they've lost Drogba and they've lost some pieces, but bringing in John there is going to be a major thing, and I think they're obviously going to be a fun team to watch this year. I'm wondering if he can do over under 23 goals. I don't know.
Yeah. He needs to. I just looked up Cortez's numbers, and it's like 30 and 20 and 20 something. So he's got to replace those, or they got to bring him in from like guys like Fernandez or someone in the midfield. Because I mean, is Asante going to do better this year? Is Johnson going to top his numbers? Yeah. You know,
I mean, Asante favorite for MVP, right?
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So I think it relies a lot on him.
Yeah, and are there rumors of him playing as a 10 this year? I heard someone say that, but I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. I don't know where he's been in preseason. Anyway, watch Asante. He's another pivotal character in the season.
Goose, any thoughts?
No, none that I can think of. To be honest with you.
Phil, got anything for me?
I didn't really talk about St. Louis, and the thing about them is they got such a bad start last year, and then they went on a really pretty decent run at the end of the year. If they can just even things out, it's going to be a higher placement, and that's why I'm a little high on them. Is I think they'll be more even-keeled this year and stay a little above average all year instead of crap at the beginning and then above average at the end. So that's all I wanted to say about St. Louis.
I'm going to be a bit of a homer. And I'm going to alert everybody to a milestone that I'm going to say will never, ever, 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 ever be touched. His 16th appearance this year, which if he plays every game up until that point, will be Saturday, June 22nd at 7:30 against the Tampa Bay Rowdies at home, will be James Chambers' 100th for Bethlehem Steel. Which is crazy to me to think about because I didn't think he was that close.
It's impressive.
And that's a very attainable amount of appearances for that gentleman to get this year. So that is the 16th game of the season. I don't know if it'll happen that way. But yeah, number 16 this year for your captain, James Chambers. Number 45 will be number 100. Which I cannot imagine there's many guys in USL period, let alone guys that play for two teams that will have 100 appearances. So do with that what you will.
Good stuff. He's a big reason they're so good.
Yeah,
he works so hard.
I like that he's getting some league coverage because he deserves it. Yeah, I'm biased. Anyway, hey, if you want to follow this podcast, you certainly may do so at the USL Show. On the Twitter, we're on Spotify now as well as iTunes and Stitcher and Google Podcasts. So like if you don't want to have to exit out of your music playing app to go get to your podcast, good news. Just search the USL Show on Spotify. We'll be there. It's really cool. Goose, where can people find you?
I can be found on the Twitterverse at the Soccer Goose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. Also at Talking Jacks. No G.
That's true.
That is also
accurate.
Yeah. Jason, my friend, we act like we don't like each other. You're one of my favorite people.
Nothing but love.
It's all love, man.
Same hood, same people.
It's the Northeast thing, you know?
Yeah. That's how we show we love each other.
Talk. Like at first you're like, oh my God, they're gonna kill each other. And then they're like, oh no, this guy's great. And you're like, oh, word. Okay. That's weird. Jay, where can people find you? And yours?
Home Sweet Soccer. And if you want to hear which League One teams are going to be USL Championship teams in the Open Cup this year, you can find me at the League One Fun podcast.
Oh, yeah.
League One Fun, which is a wonderful podcast. You guys doing a great job.
Thank you.
Couldn't have asked for... we were having mild panic attacks because we have a hard enough time covering, 36 teams, let alone... doing justice to the League One guys. And so we reached out to a couple people. You all were very happy and more than willing to join in, and you did, and it's been wonderful and successful, and everybody loves you. So that's all we can hope for.
You guys want it? We got an exclusive drop in tomorrow. If you want to see
a little
special jersey, that hasn't been released yet. We're gonna go ahead and release it tomorrow for a. I'll give you guys a hint. It is a team that this show should be familiar with.
Oh, how about that? I might have an idea or two.
Rochester Rhinos.
Yep, definitely. The Atlanta Silverbacks.
My favorite.
Yo, Phil, where can people find you?
Phil Grooms on Twitter, 2 L's, 2 O's.
For sure. Yo, if for whatever reason you want to hear, actually, hold on, let me plug my show first, I guess. TheUSLshow.com. Go there. There's a box for our Patreon. Go check that out. There's a box for Soccer Loco. Go check those guys out. Tell them that you sent us. We get a little kickback on the sales from that guy. So if you need the gear up, if you really like what Stade Rennais did to Arsenal today, buy one of their kits. Go there. Whatever. Your life. Adam Ben Arfa's there. That's cool. And all of our episodes are there, which is awesome. We did a bunch of interviews and things and a lot of stuff, and there's episodes that I haven't been on if you don't want to hear my voice. But if for whatever reason you do want to hear my voice or read my thoughts a little more, at @SpeakEvansSpeak on Twitter. It's still, for my money, the best Twitter handle in lower level soccer, but I made it, so I would think that. Another thing that I recently made that I think is really cool, Views from the Bridge, which is a Philadelphia Union podcast on the Beautiful Game Network of podcasts, also on Spotify, also on Stitcher, also on iTunes. Go check that out. It's with a couple of friends of mine, including Justin from Mongols. Yeah.
Do you do that one in the dark with no lights?
I did turn the lights out entirely. Okay. Actually, there was strobe lights going the whole time for that one.
Just wanted to make sure you're keeping tradition,
Yeah. I got you. Anyway, hey everyone, thanks for hanging out. Friendly reminder, this show is going to move back to Tuesday nights starting next week for the season. That way we're not ahead of everything. That way we can react to the games after they happen and not try to predict what's happening before they do.
And I'm not promising, but I'm going to try to sign on at least an hour before the show or before the first game tomorrow night between RGV and not Portland, not Seattle, but Tacoma Defiance.
Tacoma, baby. I was going to say Whitecaps too,
but I want to kind of try something. We're going to, if everyone cooperates and doesn't try to get crazy logging on without permission, we're going to just try to bring on like guests, like let's talk to someone for 5 minutes and ask a question. So anyone who wants to join us in the chat, we may give you a link to sign in and talk with us. It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah. I always sit and like tap my fingers waiting for the first game of the season. So why not like sign on and talk about
Phil's basically saying that he has a ton of nervous energy and he just wants to get it out in some productive way.
I'm trying to get someone else to do it for me. So
right on. All right. Yeah. Hey, thanks everyone for listening to the show. Thanks for joining us live. If you did, if you don't, friendly reminder, we go live youtube.com/the USL show every week. Feel free to get your banter in, tell us we're terrible, whatever. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys later. Remember, there is only one rule in the USL show. Maybe not the league. I don't know. I don't know their opinions on things, but that rule's don't be a dick. And we'll see you guys then.
Right.